Okay, so we are going to be talking about pronouns and maybe a little bit with determiners. Now, it's always harder to know the different words by these titles, so don't worry about it. We're going to jump right in. So some pronouns, it's just what you would think. So we just discussed nouns. Pronouns are a way to reference or talk about nouns. So he is an example of a pronoun. She is an example of a pronoun, and these are singular pronouns because he is one, she is one. Okay, and then we have some plural pronouns like we and they. And then there's some kind of confusing pronouns that we come across, things like you or I or it. Okay, and we'll go over some of the determiner pronouns later. So let's start with he. He, when you're using that in a sentence, you are talking about a boy or a man or a male. When you use she, you are talking about a girl or a woman or a female. Okay, when you're talking and using we, you are talking about a group of people, but you are a part of that group. So when you say we are going to the movie, you are included in that. You are going to the movie as well. When you use they, you are talking about a group that you are not a part of. Okay, so you are not with them, or you are not going to do what they are doing necessarily. Okay, and you, obviously, you are talking to someone across from you, having a conversation, maybe at lunch or any scenario, but you are talking to someone in front of you or around you. And then I, you are talking about yourself. Okay, so each of these pronouns has a possessive pronoun counterpart. Okay, now if you don't know what I'm saying, you will soon. The possessive for he is his. So that's when he has something. So let me use those in a sentence. He has a book in his backpack. Period. Okay, so you see here we have the pronoun and we have the possessive pronoun, he and his. Now this is one of the things on the TOEFL that they will try to trick you on. They want to test that you know genders. Here we are obviously talking about a boy or a man or someone who is male. Okay, and a review from the last lesson, he is the noun and he is the noun subject, and then we have the noun object, and yet we have another object. So these sentences can get a little more complicated. Okay, so it's important to not mix up these pronoun possessives. So let's look at the possessive for she. She is her. Okay, so a sentence example of this would be she is using her bike. Okay, let's hit that E. Whose bike is it? It is her bike. We got the subject and we got the object, and the possessive pronoun is her. She is using her bike. Okay, so they'll be watching for this. If you happen to say she is using his bike, that is a problem. You don't want to mix those up. Okay, we are now on we. Now take a moment to think, what is the possessive pronoun for we? If you thought are, you are correct. This seems to be a hard one for students to remember. So we are swimming in our pool. We are swimming in our pool. So you have your pronoun and you have your possessive pronoun right there. We are swimming in. This is where it gets a little more complex. So you can switch up possessive pronouns and you can say we are swimming in their pool. Okay, so we're jumping ahead there. Or you could say we are swimming in her pool. So you are with a group of people and you are going swimming in this girl's pool. Okay. So next we have they. And I just wrote it, so you already know the possessive pronoun for they is their. They are going to their house. Let's write that. They are going to, I'm going to skip there for a second, house. I'll write it right here. Their house. Now let's switch it out with some other ones. They are going to his house. They are going to that boy's house or that man's house. Okay, and let's do some of our new ones on the bottom. They are going to your house. Okay, so for you down here, the possessive pronoun is your. Okay, and let's try I. For I, the possessive pronoun is my. They are going to my house. Okay, so you have the possessive pronouns that go with each pronoun, and then you can mix them up depending on what you are talking about with people. So quick review, he, the possessive is his, she, the possessive is her, we, the possessive is our, they, the possessive is their, you, the possessive is your, and I, the possessive, is my. And so you can play around with these and say sentences and talk to people, and you are probably pretty familiar with these concepts already. So we are going to dive into something else. All of these pronouns were used for noun, person. You are talking about people here, okay? Whether you are talking about yourself, the person across from you, a group you are in, a girl or woman, or a boy or a man, you are talking about a noun person. So let's do some words that you can use when you are talking about a place or even a thing. Okay, so these are the pronouns and determiners. So I'm going to write some examples. We have this, we have that. Okay, so those are your pronouns and determiners. When we use the word this, we are talking about something that is closer to us. So it's in closer proximity. If I am talking about the apple on the table and that apple is close to me, I would say this is an apple, or this is my apple. Okay, we already know an apple is a noun thing, and you're using this to talk about it. This is my apple. So in this sentence, this is a pronoun. Okay, we are going to try and use that now. When you use the word that, you are talking about something that is not as close. It's maybe a little farther away. And let's use an example of that. So, that car is fast. Okay, so we use that as a pronoun, and I'm talking about a car, and that car is not very close to me. It's not right next to me. It's not right beside me. It could be on the road, it could be down the road from me a little ways away, but you use that to talk about this car, and this car is a noun thing. So we are referencing or talking about that noun thing using that as the pronoun. Because you wouldn't say, wow, that car, she is fast. You know, you wouldn't talk about a car as a girl or a woman or police or John or someone's name. It's very unusual to hear that, although surprisingly some people do it. Okay, so this and that are both singular. They are both talking about one thing. And remember, we spoke about he and she. He is also just one boy or one man. She is one girl or one woman. Now, there are options for plurals here. So for this, we have these. For that, we have those. Okay, so this is one, these is two or more. That is one, those is two or more. Okay, and it's the same thing when you use we or they. We equals two or more, and they equals two or more. Okay, so you use we and they if you're talking about two or more people, and you use these and those if you are also talking about two or more things. Okay, these is when it is close to you. So I am working at a table or a desk right now, so I could say these pencils are sharp. Okay, and with those, I can write those windows are clean. Okay, so here we have one of those real tough examples that we are talking about. Oh gosh, so I meant for this to be these. So I'll just put these right here. Okay. We have these pencils are sharp. So sharp is an adjective. We have our subject right here, pencils, and then are is just a to be verb. And so you learned in the noun lesson, most full sentences are going to have a subject and a object. And this is an example of one full sentence that kind of breaks the rule a bit. You have pencils and you're describing the pencils as sharp, but you don't really have another object or subject in the sentence. You just have the subject pencils. So let's take a look. Oh, again, you want this to be these. But let's take a look at this sentence down here. Those windows, so they're farther away. They're not close like the pencils are. The pencils are on the table right next to me. So these pencils are sharp. We are using those. Those windows are clean. So those windows can be in the house that you are in. They're just not as close as the pencils. They're a little ways away or a little farther away. They're not next to you. So those windows are clean. And we have the same issue with the full sentence. So we have this pronoun, those, and then we have windows as the subject. Then we have the to be verb, are, and then we have an adjective to describe the windows, clean. And yet, this is a full sentence. Those windows are clean. Okay, so that is an example of pronoun